Good morning, everybody, or it's close to afternoon. It's almost 11, 12 o'clock. It's 11:40. What happened to my other clock that was giving me the right time? I reset it. It must be hidden behind some object or something like. But anyhow, the last near 24 hours has been interesting. Yesterday, the weather was kind of gloomy and whatnot, so I came in. Jerry didn't feel like doing a lot of stuff because she was just like in a funk. And I'm pretty sure it was a combination of physical aches and pains due to barometric pressures. Her knees, shoulder, back was bugging her. And part of that is arthritic. Part of that is just barometric pressure. So I came in here and I did some more work and I started to do a side project because my brain went, ooh, maybe Diane and I can have game night and maybe she'll be interested in playing some D&D because we kind of got into it a couple summers back when we went to visit her friend Lisa, and Lisa's oldest son is a DM, dungeon master, game master, however you want to put it. So I came in here and I started fiddle farting around with that stuff. And well, later on that evening, Mom was having problems with her Amazon Fire Stick, and well, it was a combination of technical issues and environmental issues. Now, I'm not a very big fan with trying to work on digital devices or technical devices when it comes to the repairing or reprogramming, because I'm not good with that. I'm one of those guys where I'm like, I'm going to plug it in like I'm supposed to plug it in, and I'm going to do what it says that I'm supposed to do, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, let's see what I can do before I throw it out the window. I'm not a big techie. I'll use technical devices or use technology for the purposes that was designed for or can be used for. If it starts to break down and not work, I'm at a loss. I'm more the type of person of let me go play with the animals. Put me in with a bunch of animals and I'll have fun. I know what some people are thinking of. Why don't you get a job working with animals? Well, I don't have the training most people are looking for. I have some experience or training with certain kinds of animals. I mean, I would love to go work at a zoo as a zookeeper or a tour guide through the zoo, or we've got an animal safari that is open during the summer months. I would love to go work there. I'm pretty sure it's open all year round, but not open to the public all year round. Just open to the point where the keepers come in and take care of the animals and feed the animals and do what they're supposed to do. I would love doing that. But it's either an hour and a half drive one direction or almost a 2-hour drive the other direction. There is no zoological type places around me. Then I saw something crawling across my floor. I love animals. I mean, I think I love animals more than I love people, to be honest with you. But I've never been able to afford going to college for zoological studies or park ranger studies or anything like that, because most of the jobs that I want to do, park ranger, zoological type work, you need a degree in, or some sort of background. I don't have any of that. And at my age, I don't know if I can literally sit down and do it, let alone afford to do it. I thought about it. I really have. I just time, money, and yeah, mostly time and money. Because when I was younger and I worked a summer in Yellowstone National Park, this is back in the late 90s, I spent a lot of my time, my off time, while I was there, talking with the rangers, and they were like, "Well, you can do this, this, and this, and become a park ranger, or you can." I forgot what. There was a number of different things they said I can do. Most of it was, go to school, take these courses in a college. But the thing is, when you become a park ranger, you don't always get to choose your location. A lot of times you have to literally start at the bottom of the barrel doing like Washington Monument or something like that in DC, or the swamps of Florida or places like that before you can get covenant positions like Mount Rushmore, the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone National Park, which is like the covenant. I mean, to a park ranger who really, really likes places like Yellowstone National Park, which is be up my alley, you have to be put on a wait list. And once you get picked and go there, you have to do your utmost to basically keep your position, because a lot of times they rotate every so many years, unless you are really good at your job and you basically fight to stay where you are. And I was like, well, I've been in most environments. I think the only place that I do not want to be a park ranger is Alaska. Yeah, they got them up there in Alaska. Well, you got Denali, Alaska. It's one of the many different places in Alaska that they have park rangers. I think the only reason why I don't want to do Denali, Alaska is grizzly bear I might be able to handle, because most of the times grizzly bears are pretty much afraid of people. But them polar bears and the biggest grizzly bear, can't even remember the name of these grizzly bears, but they stand taller than a regular grizzly bear. Kodiaks, the Kodiak bear. That's a monster and a half of a bear, and it's not afraid of anything. I mean, it is a apex predator. Eats just about anything and will rip through a building if it can just to get the food. No, thank you. Because I know mama grizzly bears, they can be aggressive as is because they got cubs. But when you got a bear that when it stands up on its hind quarters, on its hind feet, 8 to 10 foot tall critter, plus babies. Not even a Wolverine will take it. No, a Wolverine won't even mess with that. It's just one of those kind of animals that you go, you stay on that side of the river, I'll stay on this side of the river, we'll be okay. Now, besides that, when you get 6 months of pure darkness and 6 months of pure light, because of the position of the Denali, Alaska is pretty close to the Arctic Circle. No, thank you. Because I cannot imagine coming around a building in the middle of the night with just building lights and coming nose to nose with a Kodiak bear. No. I've already seen people or heard stories about people in Yellowstone. Like the last time I was there in Yellowstone, which is 2010, I went just to get away from the stresses of New York and all the different things. I wasn't trying to run away from Jerry, but I couldn't handle New York no more, and I got a job in Yellowstone. And one of the people I knew in Yellowstone, he was the head cook for the employee. He was one of the head cooks of the employee cafe. Basically, the people who serve and cook our food, the employees' foods. He came out of his dorm. It's like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. He came around the corner, and there was a big old grizzly bear outside of the dorm, within probably 50 yards of where I was sleeping. He went to turn around to go back inside, and the bear swiped at him and basically gave him what we call a love tap. 75 stitches across his butt. Yeah. Park rangers had to find that bear, trank it, and try to get it as far away from the area as possible, and hope it didn't find its way back. The reason why animals like bears and whatnot get close to the dormitories and whatnot is they're coming out of hibernation. The time of year we were there, they're coming out of hibernation, and they're looking for food in any source they can find, including campsites, dormitory sites, areas that are basically have mass amounts of people. But because it was like early morning, pre-dawn, nobody's out and about making a lot of noise, which keeps most of the wildlife away. It happens. In fact, that same year I was there, I was taking a nap with an open window. Curtain was closed, but the window was open to let in some of the breeze and whatnot. And my bed was closest to the window out of the two beds in the dormitory room that I was in. And I was woken up by the sound of digging, crunching noise. And I slowly, because I know animals get spooked and they can probably rip right through that window, or that screen. I slowly peeked around the window, and standing right there outside of my window, get a big old whiff of this musky scent, was a bison eating the grass. And I was like, whoa. He's in the middle of 3 different buildings where people are coming and going. And he's just a lone bison sitting there eating the grass. Yellowstone National Park, we can't tell these animals what they can and cannot do. Heck no. But it was one of the most thrilling things that had happened to me in most of my life, if not all my life. I've had some great encounters with animals. One of my first good encounters with animals, I mean, besides Germany with that crazy sheep and the horse, it was after my father passed away, so it had to be sometime in the late 80s. No, it wasn't in the 90s. It was late 80s. A group of us from, well, my mom was a member of something called PWP, Parents Without Partners. And it's basically parents who have children but do not have a spouse. Either most of them were basically children of divorces, and they lived either with mom or dad, or me. There's only maybe a handful of us who were basically orphans. And I don't mean, the military term orphan basically is you're the child of a deceased veteran. Now, I still had mom, but my father was not with us no more. But we had a nice little outing to go to the Phoenix Zoo. And while at the Phoenix Zoo, there was a black panther, big, beautiful animal, just pacing and rubbing against the wire fencing. And on the side of the opening where you can look in and see the animal, a little plaque that says "Raised in Captivity." So I knew from just seeing that this animal was not going to get irritated or try to claw me if I just reached up and started to scratch its fur as it was passing by. Nope, no problem whatsoever. Did have a zookeeper come up and go, "You're awfully brave to do that, even though this animal was raised in captivity." And I'm like, you can tell just by his demeanor. He was a friendly, non-aggressive animal. I've never had any fear of wild animals. I really have never had a fear of wild animals. The bison outside my window was great, but I know enough about wildlife and animals of most forms that if you pay attention to the animal, you can tell when it's going to get irritated. You can tell when it's going to be aggressive. You can tell if it's going to be calm and cool and collective. If you read up enough about animals, you can tell. You can learn their, like bison. Bison are they don't have very good eyesight, but they have a good strong sense of smell and a good sense of hearing. So they know where you are when you're coming close to them, what you're doing, those kind of things. Animals have developed a higher sense of their environment or their surroundings, and they know when something is wrong, and they know when they're in danger and whatnot. Okay, mom's about ready to leave for a medical appointment. So I enjoyed my time at Yellowstone. I mean I enjoy my time when I'm around animals. It's who I am. I love animals. But today is this morning, telling you about technical issues. Yesterday was mom's Fire Stick TV. This morning was our Keurig. Our Keurig is used by all three of us now. Me and Jerry having coffee and mom having tea at night. Well, this morning, I went to use the Keurig and I made something to drink. And, oops, it's all gone. And I got done with my usage of it, and I went to go make Jerry Ann a cup of coffee. And the Keurig started to, it shut itself off halfway through making a cup of coffee. But the thing is, it did not make a full cup of coffee. When I went to pop the top off, all the liquid that was in the K cup and sitting on top spewed everywhere. And I was like, oh great, what happened? And I went to go make a second cup, and it went everywhere. So I realized something had to be wrong with the needle, because just having regular straight water go through it did not affect it one bit. It did its thing. So Jerry and I had to take the little cup out, go in there and clean up the needle, and poke a toothpick in there to clean out the needle and put it back in, and it worked fine. So the needle got clogged. The secondary needle that basically gets all the coffee out of the K-cup got clogged somehow. Yay. If it wasn't for the factor that I was half awake, half asleep, and Jerry was, excuse me, shouldn't have said that. And Jerry was the calm, cool, collective person, was like, yeah, all we needed to do is clean it out. I'm like, yeah, obviously, of course. But I'm not a big tech person. Anyhow, this next little part, and it's just going to be a brief part because I laughed. It made me laugh. Now, either this person is a troll and likes to make problems for other people. His title or call sign, whatever you want to call it, also made me go, yeah, that's exactly what you must do on multiple sites, is just cause problems. I'm not going to repeat what he said because I already took it off, because I was just like, Well, let's just put it this way. This person obviously does not know me, does not know my resources, does not know where I get my information or where what I'm talking about, because basically he wanted to say that I'm talking out of my ass. That's a judgment call nobody can make, especially if the person making that judgment call does not know the individual or the individual sources or background or anything about the person. Second off, the person who's basically going to go there and tell another person that they're talking out of their butt must be the one talking out of their butt because of the fact that they're making the comment in the first place. Third off, if you followed all my information and listened to everything and saw the information or the sources of my information, you would either A, go look it up yourself before you make a judgment call, or B, just shut the heck up. Because I've got, well, here's some of my resource information right here. You might not be able to read that one, that's really thin, but it's the Poetic Eddas. Plus the book I have in my bedroom, that's basically How to Live Hagee. Plus a bookshelf loaded with resource information. Everything I say about Mary Summer Rain is right there. There's some more Viking books up there. That whole bottom shelf, that's all loaded with resource information for the Bible. So that in fact I don't have my list anymore because I threw it away. I have a list of resource locations online for world events, archaeological digest books, archaeological today, architecture for today, history books, newspapers, and a whole lot of other resources I can find online. So when I go to sit down and talk about a subject, it just doesn't come from up here. Okay? It comes from a multitude of resources. In fact, one of the resources I've been reading a lot lately, because in fact they're not just based on Europe and European news, but they do a lot of news reporting for the United States. It's a newspaper out of the UK called The Guardian. Now, one of the things I've found about a lot of non-American news resources, when they start talking about America, they don't just bullshit. They don't just put whatever they're told to put into their paper by the government. And yes, the government does tell a lot of the different news sources what they can and cannot say. That's why I read The Guardian, because The Guardian's not going to bullshit. They're not going to pussyfoot. They're not going to have a government resource telling them what they can and cannot put in their paper. So, Spanky, before you go saying that I'm talking out of my butt, you need to learn a whole lot more about me. Because, if anything, anybody who's going to make a judgment on me on the resource material I have and the amount of time I spend studying stuff, that in fact are my life experiences, obviously, one, you're probably in your 20s. So you think Fox News or someplace like that is the end-all be-all about news. That in fact, you've probably learned a lot of stuff in school through world history or American history that does not have all the information, because history books are written by the victors. Not everybody, just the victors. There's a lot of stuff in our history books that are about Native Americans that are half-truths. They're not full truth. Second off, world history, Do you know how many times I argue with my world history teacher on the proper pronunciation of German cities and towns? And I lived there for 3 years thanks to the United States Air Force and my father. So, yeah. You want to get into an argument about who's talking out of what part of their body? I'm your huckleberry. Because I won't back down. So, take your 20-something, 30-something year old knowledge and stick it where the sun don't shine because, one, I'm almost 50. Two, I've lived in various parts of the world that people don't understand in the first place. Three, I love to study about history and architectural designs and anthropology and various different things that basically I was told in junior high, I would never be able to understand, read, or whatnot. But by the time I graduated high school, I was reading the stuff that people said I would never be able to read or understand. So, yeah. Don't try me, son. Anyhow, to end this video, today is going to be a day of let's see what we can get done. Jerry Ann feels like doing stuff, so I'm going to ask her where she wants to start because, far as I'm concerned, we can start in our bedroom, we can start in her craft room, we can start wherever she wants to. I just want to start getting stuff done. And if she has another episode of she doesn't feel like doing it for one reason or another, I will come in here and do what I was doing, which, for those of you who might be interested, I was actually working on some campaigning information or campaigning design for Dungeons and Dragons, the role-playing game. My wife enjoys playing it to some extent. I enjoy doing it because it allows me to use my imagination and my creativity to play the game. And for those of you who are going to get on a bandwagon about it's the devil's game, no. D&D can go good or bad depending on the creator or the DM, game master, and the way his mind is. I like playing simplified games where I get a group of players who want to go out and clean out a village, a dungeon, a castle of negative properties. So my game is usually I get a group of people who want to rid the world, the fantasy world, of evil. It gives me a sense of adventure. It gives me a sense of doing something good, even though I can't do as much good as I want to in the real world because the real world wants you to have documentation or paperwork saying that you can do it or you know what you're doing. There's a lot of things or a lot of people out there that are like me who, because of educational experiences or because of, in my case, I have certain forms of anxiety. Most of those anxieties wrap around stress or stressful situations, tests that are basically, you have a time, you have a short period of time to get the knowledge that you know is out there because you've proven it or up here, and you've proven it's up here on non-testing days. But when it comes to that test, my brain just kind of goes, nope, no. You're gonna pressure me to basically go through the memory files to find the information to answer this question, and I've only got 30 minutes to do four or 5 pages worth of testing information. Ain't gonna be done. No. That's when I get into my educational problems because of those anxieties. But I know if I had just a little bit more training on certain aspects of zoological studies, I could probably be working in a zoological field. If I had a little bit more studies or information on various elements that the forestry department works with, which is basically law enforcement, certain earth sciences, and agricultural, not agricultural, botany. No, I can't remember what it was, but there are three different subjects that I was told that I needed to know to become a forest ranger by a forest ranger. So, yeah. There's one job that I almost looked at last summer before I started working at Casey's, and I was working for the forestry department as a fire watchman. Basically, what it is, you climb up in that big old tower and you sit in that tower for God knows how long, looking over the lay of landscape and watching for smoke or evidence of forest fires. I didn't put that information in. I didn't fill out the application for that because one, they wanted you to have a certain amount of knowledge or experience with fires, and they wanted you to know certain things about the forestry department or elements of the forestry department, which I did not know. And a lot of things that's kept me from going to school or getting the education for those kind of jobs is test anxiety, time, and money. There's a lot of jobs that I feel that I could do if I had the knowledge. But in order for me to get the knowledge, I need to have money and a way of having those tests done without the worry of test anxiety. Excuse me. So it's like, right. Okay, sure. I don't know when that will ever happen. I'm hitting my 50 and I will be hitting my 50th birthday this year, and I'm happy doing what I do or was doing. At this point in time, I don't feel rushed to get another job. Let's just put it this way. Not looking at the financial aspects of my life, not looking at anything that has to do with modern day necessities, finances and all that fun stuff. I don't feel the sense or urgency to look for another job because Jerry's not pressuring me. Two, I feel that the universe is basically telling me to relax, get your house in order, get the things that you need to do around your house done. Leave some opportunities or chances of taking a weekend, like 2-3 days, to just get away for a short period of time and not worry about anything. So I don't feel any worries. I don't feel any strains on my life to have a job outside the house. What I feel that needs to be focused on is doing the stuff around the house, helping Jerry Ann build up her thing, trying to do more to build up my thing. I have the choices on any given day of the week that DoorDash has opportunity for me to go out and do some DoorDash errands to earn a little bit of money here and there. So I'm not really worried about my financial future right now. In fact, right now, the way things are looking is very good, very bright, very positive. And other than a few little gets that want to be negative on my channel and get me riled up, I have no stress. I'm happy. And that's the way I'm gonna look at it. That's the way I'm going to do whatever I can, physically, mentally, or spiritually, to keep it that way. Yes, I woke up. It's another partly cloudy, starting to lighten up there, so it's not as gloomy looking. In fact, I looked at the radar earlier, and it doesn't look like we're going to get any rain for the next couple hours. So I am fairly sure that today will be a nice, productive day. So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. I will deal with them as necessary or as I feel. If you're new to my channel and want to stick around for further videos, go ahead and click the subscribe button, and a little bell will pop up, and YouTube will let you know when if you click on the bell, YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. Sorry, my eye started getting itchy, so I was rubbing it. So until next time, have a good day. God bless. Bye.